dude, because you can't forget, man. This is something you have to remember. Like when you are dealing with people in this fucking world, like no matter what they are doing or whatever they are doing, it's always about them. It's always about them. The person across from you is living their life. They're living a life that is dictated, demanded, started, ended, finished within their fucking world. It's all about them. You will rarely come across someone who's actually engaging with you on your basis. It's always 99.99999% of the time, that person is acting out of their life. It's their experiences. It's whatever emotions they are bringing to the table. They are looking to validate their expectations. This is the thing. We live in a world where we create our reality, right? Everybody creates their reality on a daily basis. This is the thing from quantum mechanics where it's the pairs between electrons is that you can decide what you want to happen in life. I'm getting a little fucking woo here, but it is true empirically, and you can find out for yourself, and you will. Everyone will find this out for themselves. But you create your life by deciding what you want it to be, and how that happens is the emotion. It's the emotions we have, that imprint. Emotions are like the melody in music, man. Emotions that we have are like it's like a waveform that smacks up again. Ever seen those things where you like press your face into one of those like those like not spikes, but they're like soft like plastic spikes, and you put your face in it and sticks your face out the other side. That's what emotions are, man. We have this plate, this thing inside of our soul where the emotions flow in there from whatever happens, and they make this fucking waveform. And that waveform, what that does is it calls out. It's like a magnet to all other waveforms that are of the same magnitude and frequency, the same resonance, the same energy. Then it starts to fucking bring them to it. Starts to bring them. And that's what manifesting is those emotions that you create or that come into you as a human, that you bring into the world, start to bring more of the same. So whatever you are, more of it comes to you. So you got to understand how people operate and how the world works. Is that person across from you had some sort of emotion, however long ago, 10 days ago, 5 days ago, 2 minutes ago, very quickly you will find a match, depending on how strong and how chances work in that day. But you can very quickly find your match when it comes to that wavelength. It doesn't take long. But it's like that person came to the table with an expectation, and they're going to find it. And sometimes they're going to find it in you. And if they want to fight about something, if they were looking to have a fight about something in their life that they were mad about, they're going to find it. And sometimes it's you. You're the one that's giving them that. Right? But it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with them. It's their life. It's their expectation. It's their experience. It's everything going on with them that is coming into existence with you. That's coming into existence in the interaction that you are having with them at that time. People are carriers of experiences, and we bring it forth into reality, and that's how it works. So it's like that person across from you, or whatever is happening. So I just got very annoyed. I got very annoyed by the cars going by in the roadway. I must have been looking for another fucking car. So now I'm getting an emotion of annoyance. So I must have had something happen to me in the last day or whatever where I was annoyed. And that imprint of fucking that emotion came into existence again. So it just happened. Things don't just happen. They happen for a reason. So you got to remember that when you're dealing with other people, people are living this life where they are living on expectations with whatever they are, whatever aspects of an experience they're looking to have, knowingly or unknowingly. People don't know this shit, but this is how the world. That's why I say you need to learn the rules of life. This is how the world works. This is how the fucking mechanism operates. This is how the mechanism operates, and it's whether you know it or not. This is what happens. So it's like if you come across someone that's a little argumentative. First of all, you were looking for that. You were looking for someone to be argumentative with you because you always find what you're looking for. It goes both ways. But then that person, you can't ever take too seriously what someone else brings to the table too, because you got to remember, this is all about them. If someone wants to pick a fight with you, that's about them. It really has nothing to do with you. I mean, if you try to fuck with somebody, you're going to get what you deserve, obviously. But I'm talking about just like the way that things manifest in life. Like nothing is an accident. Everything is cosmically connected in this way, this chaotic way. But it's chaotic, but it's perfect. It's perfect in its analogous form, where it finds itself fitting perfectly into what we expect. And so it's an analogy for itself. And that's the paradox in it, is that it actually finds itself replicating itself. That's what the emotion is. That's what those experiences that seem to be repetitive are. That's what the magnet of the waveform is. That's what the manifestation is. It's an analogy. It's the universe analogizing what happened prior, because everything comes into existence in the next moment. The next moment that appears is an analogy of the prior moment, and it has aspects of it. There's this length of new material that appears. And it is new, but it also holds everything that's ever happened before. So it's like it has the modicum of novelty that is required to progress time forward, or our experiential aspect of time. But at the same time, it is the same as everything that's ever happened before. And that's why it retains an aspect of the past. So we don't come into the world in each passing moment as something that's fresh. It's not new. And nobody's living a life nobody was born yesterday. I guess some people get lobotomized and they don't even know. But at the same time, I think the emotions are still working in the background, whether or not you're conscious of it. That's the thing too. It happens no matter whether or not you're aware of it. These are the things. So it's like, don't ever think that person. This is why you can never get offended. You can never get too upset at anyone, because they're just living a life. They're living a life just like you are. And everything they do is about them. It's a manifestation of what they wanted to happen. So you got to remember that when you're dealing with people, it allows you to take things to be removed. So if it's say you're in conflict with a person, this is you, this is them. Like, you sit here, your body's down here, but you're up here, you're watching. And this other person is so fucking tied up into their life, into what's happening in the moment. Like, they don't even know what's going on. But you're right here, and you're like, God damn, I see exactly what this is. This person wanted to have a fight today, and they found it. But you can modulate what happens too. You cannot buy in. You don't have to buy into that. And when they don't find what they're looking for with you, they will move on. That's the beauty of the situation. When they don't find what they're looking for with you, they will move on, because they have to find it. That's how it works. If the resonance isn't there, they're just going to bounce off. They're going to bounce off and go to the next thing. But I think that there's perhaps some agency in that moment if we're able to recognize, hey, this is happening. At this moment, this is happening, and this person is wanting me to buy into what they are doing. And if you don't, you sit in this position of power. This is such a position of power, being removed from the mud and the grime of the battle of an emotional life, where you are beholden to the waveform and the manifestation of expectation and emotion that comes into your life in the waking hours and the waking moments, and we don't have control over, and we get so lost. People end up on the street. People end up broken. They end up not knowing what happened to them because they lived a whole life not knowing what was going on unconsciously. But when you sit here and you watch yourself exist, man, the power you have in that fucking space, in that state, in that stance, in that instantiation of consciousness that is so far above the mud and the grime and the dirt of the fight and people, and you just watch people down there, and it's like, God damn. Everything becomes so clear when you can find the perspective that is removed from yourself, and because you don't have to be such an although we do live a life that is a reflection of our expectation, inevitably, you can change your expectation like that. In the moment, you can change. You can say, I don't want this because I'm not beholden to this. And right before that person finds what they're looking for in you, you can go, boom, and you don't give them what they want. And that's your choice. There's a power in the choice to decide, and it goes back to the expectation. It's the same concept, but the time frame, I think you can choose the time frame. You can say, I want this to happen today, or I want this to happen right now, or I don't want to be involved in this that way, and now you're not because you didn't want to be. And that person immediately recognizes if they're not getting what they want out of you, they're going to go to the next thing. And if you're here and they're here looking for someone that's down here with them in the mud, they're not going to fucking be able to handle someone being up here. They don't know what to do with that. So they got to go on. They got to go live a life down there. And you'll see that people find this wherever they can. People desperately search. People inevitably search for what they want to find. They have to. It is the only way that we exist in the world, because the things that show up around us are always a manifestation of those expectations. Always. Everything. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that anything in life is not a piece of what you are expecting it to be. It always is. And I think that you can go down to the very bottom of things and find that to be true. When you look at your life, like you're in a dream. You're awake in a dream. And it's the dream that you choose. You chose every aspect of it. Now I get when you're a kid, maybe when you're fucking 10 years old, it's very different. The growing mind is not the matured mind. And I think things don't happen the same way. The level of awareness isn't there. The level of power in the mind isn't there until you get to a place of agency in life. Which kind of leads me to believe that, these workings, these mechanisms might be some sort of mirage. It might just be something. It's the same way that a leaf grows towards the sun, is that we have to have some way to understand the world, but we don't need to have that when we're children, because our lives are so prescribed and so defined by others. So maybe it is, because I've been trying to figure out the reason that we even have awareness. Like, what is awareness? Is it some sort of evolutionary development that just brings us to a place where we can better understand the world, to navigate our world in a better way? It's just a natural outgrowth of evolution? Or is it some divine property of specifically for human beings? I don't know. It's unanswerable. But it's like, it kind of leads you towards that place where you're thinking like, well, maybe this is something that arises when we come of age because we need it then. We don't need it before that. But that could also be some sort of injection by the powers that be or whatever. So that's an aside. But you got to remember, people are looking for something, and you can give it to them or not.